some of the many positive, unfortunate as well, because there's a war and people have died, but the positive aspects coming out of the conflict with Russia is that in the last 3 years, and even more so by the time of the 2019 elections, that Ukraine is finally divorcing itself from the communist past. You have 4 decommunization laws. You have the breaking of ties and relations with Russia in a whole range of areas: economic, military-industrial complex, social media, you name it. The list grows by the month. And a lot of this is self-inflicted by Russia. It's not just Ukraine doing it. And so those ties have been broken, and more importantly, the psychological ties of the so-called Stalinist myth of brotherly nations is dead, is finished. This was introduced by Stalin in the late 30s, and it went very deep into the heads, particularly of Eastern Ukrainians and then the older generation. Well, obviously, that is now finished, and you can't turn the clock back. I remember in April 14 in Kiev, a taxi driver asking me, is there going to be war? And I said, yes, looks like it. And the driver said to me, how can we fight our brothers? Well, this was 3 years ago. I somehow doubt that he still thinks that Russians are brothers after they've occupied Crimea and they have launched an undeclared war against Eastern Ukraine. So Ukraine in the last 3 years is very different and will be very different by the next elections compared to after the Orange Revolution. And in this respect, Poroshenko comes out better than Tymoshenko, Yushchenko after the Orange Revolution, when literally the entire period of time was a waste of time. Nothing much concrete was done. If anything, Ukraine missed the opportunity in 2006 to join the Membership Action Plan, which is the preparation stage for joining NATO. Since 2014, not everything has been done that many of us would have liked, but a lot more has been done. Institutions have been created, an army has been built in Ukraine, and patriotism has grown. This book, again, shows to what degree the views of Eastern and Southern Ukrainians, primarily Russian speakers, have become more closer to the views of Central Ukrainians. So that national identity has moved east and south. And that's why you see so many Russian speakers helping in volunteer movements and fighting on the front lines. So that break with Russia, which probably would have taken a long time if there was no war, these changes in identity take a long period of time, has been speeded up. And the person involved in that is Poroshenko. So I think it's going to be extremely fascinating election campaign because of what's taken place since 2014, past baggage, particularly after the Orange Revolution, and of course past baggage from the 1990s as well. Poroshenko has in many ways reinvented himself since 2014. As I say, he's not done everything that many of us would have liked, particularly in the area of fighting corruption and oligarchs, but at the same time, I would not have liked to be in Poroshenko in 2014, becoming president of a country that's bankrupt, has no army, and your big powerful neighbor has just invaded you. Wow. That's one hell of a job to take on.